Congratulations, everyone. We've got to the 10th episode of the Existential Evan podcast, and I can't have done it without your support. Thank you so much for subscribing and following all my social media channels, whether it be here on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. I can't grow this channel without your continued support, and it means the world to me that so many of you have come along for this journey so far in these early days. As a consequence of that, I've been able to grow my Instagram followers by 10 times in just about 8 weeks, which is incredible, particularly for such a small channel. I work alone. Everything I do is just with my iPhone 13 and a couple of lamps here in my bedroom. And so, I just want to really say today, thank you so much to all the men and boys who have supported me in my work here on Existential Evan, and also a special thanks to the few women and girls that do also support my work. I want to thank you as well for your support to the men and boys that you love in your lives. Today is quite special for me. I know it's only the 10th episode and it's early days, but I thought I would mention that due to all of your support, my last video that I did has also, as we speak, gone viral with over 15,000 views in just over 24 hours. And that is off the back of my first viral video, the Let Her Leave video that I did, that has now ticked over 100,000 views as well. So this can only happen when all of you, leave comments, share, repost, save, all these things that just tick the algorithm, and really it's a game of engagement. And as I said from the very start of this journey, and as the Existential Evan podcast, I refuse to self-censor, and so if I use certain words where other content creators might use an asterisk to block a word out to play with the algorithm, that's not the game that I'm going to play. I'm never going to censor language or do anything like that, because I believe it's important to use the words that we have in the English language and use them as they are made to be used. I'm not going to chase any algorithms. That's not the game. The only real way that I can, in a way that I feel is in line with my principles to grow my account, is algorithmically to have you continue to support me. So anyway, that's sort of all I want to say about that. I really am greatly appreciative, and in particular, everyone leaving their comments. The comments are really important, and people have actually even been privately messaging me asking for advice. Obviously, I'm not a qualified psychologist or counsellor or anything. I do have a degree in psychology and 2 other degrees as well, so 3 degrees and 10 years of study in human behaviour under my belt, as I said in my very first episode. But all I can do is speak from my heart and tell you my life experience and give you advice based on the really bad mistakes that I've made so that you don't make them. If you find anything that's really valuable within my videos or anything like that, as I said, if you can share it with even just a handful of people, 3 to 5 people, or however many you can, that's greatly appreciated. And in doing that, perhaps you passing on that information will help someone else in your life as well. I think what's been really interesting to see over the last few weeks is the amount of positive feedback that I've received, but also a lot of things that have been a little bit alarming to me from the female side of things. I always had a concern that we are now living in a highly feminized, gynocentric world, certainly in the Western world at least, and that boys and men are being left behind, and worse still, are being demonised. And by virtue of that, their health issues or their victimisation due to crime are being ignored further. Even though they've already been ignored for many, many years, they're being ignored further. So what I've seen in a lot of the comments, and for example, you can look at my recent video that's now doing very well on false allegations, is a lot of women pushing back. Anytime that a man raises his concern about his victimisation at the hands of a woman. Now, the argument can obviously be made, and will be made, that, well, hey, every time a woman's issue is brought up, men go, what about me? It's all whataboutism. Okay, well that's a fair thing to say, but for my purpose, my thing is to help men and boys, and obviously I want to call out bad male behaviour as well, and get men and boys take complete accountability and responsibility for their own actions. But also, I really want to call out women and girls for their appalling behaviour towards men and boys. And from all the comments that I read, it really does seem that this is something that is affecting a lot of men, and that most of the deep issues that are affecting you are related to some harm or heartbreak done to you by a woman that you love. And that's why really my last few episodes, or really all my episodes since the beginning, have focused particularly on relationships, dealing with relationships that are not going so well, dealing with betrayal and knowing when to get out of those relationships. And those have been made on my own personal experience recently with the unfortunate loss of my relationship and being left in a really horrible and harmful, hurtful way. And so I figured if I can channel that pain, as I did in particular with the Let Her Leave viral video, then maybe some of you can be helped as well. And whether that be through not making mistakes and learning from my mistakes, or having someone who's a bit compassionate and empathetic to your situation, so that you know that the feelings that you have and what you're going through are real, and that no one should invalidate that. Okay, there is too much silencing of men's issues, in particular, and I'll talk about this probably in my next video. I do worry significantly about male suicide, and the real lack of government, state and territory funding here in Australia, and I'm sure this is the same in other Western countries, for specific prevention programs related to reducing male suicide. And really, I think that's a reflection of the fact that for really centuries, millennia, men have always been considered to be the cannon fodder, right? The men that go off to die, or the men that die in the dangerous jobs, etc. And no one, at least women in particular, really cares about their suffering. It's just the expectation that they suffer in silence and get on with it. And I don't think that's entirely due to men. I think that is largely due to the expectations that women have of men. Because if men are complaining about their issues, it doesn't give women and girls the ability to talk solely about themselves and their own issues, which is incredibly important to women. Hence why they have larger social groups, because they need to talk more, and that's just how they are. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it certainly isn't great if you are a man struggling and you are effectively online, certainly, and in public or socio-political spheres, told to stay quiet. Or you're told that you can speak out. For example, men are encouraged to talk about their feelings, as it's seen as part of toxic masculinity not to, but then the same women telling them to do that then shout them down when they raise concerns, as has been the case with me. But I think that really that's been exemplified in particular with my recent post that I've just done, my recent reel and short. Once again, at this very point, I just want to thank all of you for your support with that video now, which has gone viral with about 15,000 or more views in only about 24 hours and thousands of comments and shares. And I'm so grateful for all of you. So if you're watching this now, know that every time I make this content, it is for you. I endeavour to get better and improve my content as much as possible, and the best way that you can support me is to just continue to be there and watch the content and share that content as much as possible, with as many people as possible, and we will keep growing the channel as well. But in terms of that video, as I said, I always have my concerns about women's views of men and their issues, but it has become quite clear to a disturbing level that it is worse than I thought. And particularly so when you actually use research or data. Now, I'm no paragon of virtue and I'm not infallible. I'll probably make mistakes, and I probably have made some little mistakes in presenting data or whatever, but at least I include the references there to double check against. But what is concerning for me is that what I keep seeing in all my videos, anytime I present research, numerous research, scholarly research articles, too often they are greeted with contempt and they are denied and they are said to be cherry picking data. Well, I think that's just a form of logical fallacy, really, to just throw everything out even when the data is there, and to deny that data. I've been seeing that happen too much, and I feel that it's extreme hypocrisy and double standard where women are talking about women's issues and going, here's the data, here's the statistics, here's the number, this many men do this to this many women, so on and so forth. And then if a man challenges it, they're told that they're a misogynist and that they shouldn't. But then when I post content, use the research and data and do it even better, right? My background is academia. When I present the research, I use my APA, I think it's up to 7th edition referencing, and I include those references, as many as I can possibly fit within the character count. I can't include all of them, but I include as many as I can fit in. And I present that data, and even then it's still completely denied, or it's said to be subjective, or that I've manipulated something. Really, I think what is quite clear to me now is that there are so many bad faith people out there in the social media world, and you could say, well, maybe it's just the echo chamber of social media, but really I do think it's a reflection of culture and society that we live in, and the issues between communication between men and women. And I think on that point, I really do want this content in particular to be for men and boys, but I'll just say now to the women and girls that might be watching, your support is absolutely necessary, and it is greatly appreciated. The love and support that you give to the men in your community and the men in your lives doesn't go unnoticed by those men and those boys, and you need to continue to do that regardless of whatever criticism or ostracization you may receive from other women around you. Please keep supporting those men and boys in your lives, and if you can, please share my videos with other women, because at the end of the day, my content will help men and boys, hopefully, and it will also help women and girls, hopefully. And in doing that, it's my aim to bring light to both men's issues but also women's issues, to accept that two things can be true at once, and to try to reach some sort of common ground together which improves the gender dynamics and the relationships between males and females in society. We know from the data in particular that men and boys, and particularly men as they age, absolutely thrive when they are in loving relationships with women, when they are married, and when those relationships are going well. What we also know is that when those relationships end, which is unfortunately disproportionately done by women, separation and divorce, about 49% to a bit over 60% are initiated by women, that in that time period, usually in the mid-40s, midlife being a complicated time, those men also then may lose all their assets, and most importantly, they lose custody of their children, and then they are effectively driven to suicide. They lose the woman they love and they lose their children. And so it's very important to understand that relationships to men are so important, which is why so many men work so hard to try to achieve things and compete for women's attention, because it really matters to men. It's not all just purely sexual, and I hope women understand this. It's not all just about trying to have sex, right? It's about wanting meaningful relationships and hopefully wanting a partner or a wife and to have children. And so when men are confronted with women's criticism, it hits in I think, a different way than men's criticism against women. I think women take men's criticism as just a flagrant misogynistic attack with ill intent or whatever, whereas men take it and go, well, if I'm being honest with myself, deep down, this hurts my self-esteem because I'm hearing this from women, and the thing that I want is a woman so that I'm not alone. And what you're telling me is that I'm not good enough. I already feel bad enough, and now you're reiterating that to me. And whilst it's important to obviously hold people accountable for their behaviour and to encourage them to do better, it's another thing to destroy their self-esteem and their self-image entirely, to the point that they may begin to have suicidal ideation and indeed complete suicide later on, which is unfortunately very common for men in our society. But with all that being said, I think that the content moving forward, I focus on a lot of issues, and then I try to find some solutions for them. I think moving forward, I want to try and be solutions focused, but I would love to hear your feedback. And once again, if you've got this far in the video, please don't forget to obviously subscribe to my YouTube channel, tick the bell icon for notifications, and leave a comment and share my videos. In addition to that, as I've also said, please check out Existential Evan on other social media platforms. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as well. So if you support me there, we can keep growing my account, and I can improve the quality of my lighting and my content generally. It's my aim to eventually get people on to speak to. Whether I do that in person or video call will be decided very soon. Once I upgrade my equipment and get more space on my phone, which I just burned through the space. I've tried clearing it, but it's at that level now where it's just terrible. And yeah, so getting that feedback from you guys in an iterative process as this channel changes and grows is a great idea. I'm getting a bit attached to this yellow curtain, so maybe that needs to stay as a bit of a feature as well. But look, all in all, this is really just a light, quick episode, and I think that I just want to say again that what I've done over the last 2 months has helped me learn a lot about men's issues more than what I'd already known, and I'd already been very passionate about, and that's why I started this channel, to help men and boys. But seeing the data and finding more data has opened my eyes to how serious a lot of issues are that men face, in particular things around suicide, things around female violence against men, and in particular as well, general societal issues with the view of men and boys. On top of that, it has made me realise as well that there really is a lot of misandry out there targeted at men and boys when they do raise their concerns, and I'll have more to say about that later this year, in particular regarding young boys in school and the curricula we have across Australia, in particular with respectful relationships education in Victoria and Tasmania, which are designed in particular to demonise young boys, which is only going to make them resentful of women, ironically, and make them fail at school, and then obviously that's going to lead them into a life of effectively and potentially at least crime and disdain for women. So it doesn't help the situation. We need more positive male role models in schools and society more broadly, and I'm trying to do my bit as a role model for people to learn from my mistakes. As I said already, I'm no paragon of virtue. I'm not infallible. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've done some terrible things, and all I can do is try to improve and move forward here at 33 years of age, nearly 34. So with all that being said, I think all I want to say is thank you so much. It's early days. I'm confident that this channel is going to continue to grow and grow very well, as it already has. With your support, I think we can really achieve some amazing things here. I really think the more support I have, it becomes a snowball, and we can reach more men and boys and assist them. And as I said, we can also help to educate women so that they can support themselves in relationships with the men and boys in their life, but also support those men and boys directly by understanding how they are. And in doing that, we can have healthier relationships between males and females as a whole. And I think that's a great outcome altogether. But yeah, look, I think I'll probably leave it there. Once again, if you like my stuff, please share it with as many people as you think might find it useful, and don't hesitate to also leave a comment, and if needs be, if you want to drop me a message, I'll try to directly get through to you as well. I'd like to do a questions and answers video sometime as well, so that would be excellent. The more of those questions, the better. I can build up a list of them, maybe eventually start a Discord or a Rumble or Kick or whatever these other platforms are, and we can talk on there directly, and maybe screen record or whatever, so that all the questions can be answered in the one space. But yeah, once again, I'm humbled. I feel absolutely privileged that you've all supported me so much, and to have another viral video as we speak. Thank you so much. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm sort of lost for words. Early days, but I think we're on a good run here, and I'm confident we can work all together, support each other, and keep this good thing going to help as many men and boys as possible. So anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.